Chapter 7 bankruptcy is what I found to be the quickest, cheapest, and easiest option you could have debt. When I say it's the easiest, I don't mean it's as easy as completing the process in just a click of the button. Let's take a look at what I found to be the 3 most tedious parts of my filing process. Keep in mind, handling your debt is not a one-size-fits-all solution, so each unique situation will, of course, have their own different challenges come up. From bankruptcy filing to completion, the 3 hardest parts I found were the required documentation, owning a business, and Venmo transactions. As a quick reminder, I'm doing this video in the first person, but this is actually someone on our team that filed bankruptcy recently and wanted to share his experience to help others that are considering bankruptcy themselves. First, the required documentation was the worst part of the bankruptcy process. Whether you're filing Chapter 7 bankruptcy or Chapter 13 bankruptcy, they will require proof of such things below. First, past 2 years of tax returns, 6 months of bank statements, 6 months of pay stubs. If you are self-employed, they need more financial information, which we will provide later. My spouse had a name change and some of the debt was in the old new name. We needed to provide the legal name change documentation, photo ID, and social security card. These tasks alone were particularly tedious because we had just finished moving from another state and a significant portion of our belongings were still in the state we moved from. Even though all of the documents were online, it still made it challenging to have us find all of them. Our finances were a mess leading up to bankruptcy. We had multiple bank accounts and accounts that we had closed a few months back that we still need to figure out how to get statements for. Now, the rest of the documentation was fairly easy to get as there was not as much volume as the bank statements. We were able to upload all the documentation and send it over email. We had to go back and forth a few times because either some of the documents didn't come through or I forgot to upload them. We eventually got all the documents lined up and my attorney and her team went through and verified all of the information. Now, the second 2 points here may not be relevant to everyone watching this video. Now, if you decide the rest of the video is not needed, but you'd like to chat with me or someone on my team about your particular situation, please give me a call at 833-272-3631 and we'd be happy to chat through all of your options to see what kind of may make sense for you. Also, if you're not into calling, you can text that number as well, and we're happy to hear from you and answer any questions that you have. Now, second, owning a business may provide some complexities on its own. I had a small business that was generating income at the time of filing bankruptcy in addition to my full-time job. I needed to provide a profit and loss statement, business bank statements, and a brief description of what the business did. This was the most time-consuming task. I did not have an accountant, and keeping track of my expenses for the last year or so was often tricky. Now, I'm going to show you an exact copy of the profit and loss statement that I filled out for my business. On the first try, I filled it out wrong. I was supposed to leave the last month open for the month that we were filling in. They needed the information up until midnight on my filing date. I'd filled it out in January to June, when in reality, it needed to be from February to the filing date in July. Now, the last thing that was tricky for my specific filing of bankruptcy was Venmo transactions. If you watched my last video, you heard about the 341 meeting of creditors, how it went, and how I prepared for that. Everything went smoothly up until this point. During our meeting, the trustee was going over our bank statements and other information in our bankruptcy documents. She asked us if we had a Venmo account. That was the one thing that I had forgotten to include on my original documents. At the conclusion of our meeting, she let my attorney know that she needed 6 months of Venmo statements in order to wrap up the case. I was able to promptly provide those to my attorney and we were good to go. I never heard anything else back regarding the Venmo statements, which told me that there was no further action needed on our end. Now, although there were hard parts of the filing process I had to navigate through, ultimately, my case was still successfully discharged and I was able to receive a fresh start. To this day, filing for bankruptcy was one of the best decisions that we ever made. It helped my partner and I get back to our feet and set us up for moving forward successfully in our finances. I do not regret it one bit. All of the work that both my attorney and myself put in was well worth it. If I had to go back in time, I would have been more patient with myself and the document collection. Bankruptcy is not meant to be a hard process. It is primarily submitting documentation. Now, I know bankruptcy can be a very, very scary term for a lot of people. I know firsthand because I put it off almost 3 years. It is also may not be for everyone. There are many debt relief options such as Chapter 7 bankruptcy, Chapter 13 bankruptcy, debt management, debt settlement, and debt payoff planning. I added a link in the description below that has our quick debt relief calculator that breaks down all the different options, or many of the different options, the pros and cons and costs of those options. If you'd like to chat, I would love to chat with you or someone on the team. So please give me a call at 833-272-3631. And if you haven't already and you like this video, I'd always appreciate a like, as it's always beneficial to me and very encouraging. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you have a great day.